everyone, here on MUXX TV, and I'm very happy and very honoured to have this wonderful musician next to me on the sofa today at Sofarecordings, Grainne Hunt. I'm so happy to have you here, and I must tell you, even though we met a couple of years ago, I had to practice your name again, and I had to put in the name into Google and say, have this Irish guy pronounce it for me, because I look at it and I think, Grainne. Is it Grainne? But it's Grainne, right?
You do it so well.
Yeah,
like
thank you.
The Google guy was correct.
He was. He sounded very Irish to me.
Wow. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can look up all kinds of things on the internet. It's such an honour to have you here. You are an Irish singer-songwriter, and you come from a small place called Carrickmacross, which has like 5,000 people who live there.
Look at you go! Amazing, yeah.
And it still is the second largest county, so which I thought was quite amazing. So that's what Google told me.
Monaghan. No?
Oh, well, then they're wrong.
That's definitely wrong.
But anyway, that's where you grew up and started listening to music, and that's where your influencers are from. And I always like to start this without you having to say so much, just letting people hear what you play first so they know what to expect in the next couple of hours with you. So we're going to start with an Irish folk song.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
This is a song that I learned when I was at school, actually, and it's about a boy trying to impress a woman, or a man trying to impress a woman, and telling her all about his riches and how much land he owns. But in the end, he kind of says, if I lost all my wealth, I still wouldn't lose my senses. And your kiss isn't worth as much as my shoe is to me. So that he's still looking after himself. What's new?
Absolutely. We also, for you to know who don't know Grainne yet, she does do lots of her own songs as well. But we're starting with this for a particular reason, and we'll find out why after you play. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, how do you pronounce it? Buachal on Erain? No.
So Buachal on Erna.
That's what I said.
Yes. Google will teach you.
Exactly.
Buachal on Erna's me breaking fain Colleen Jasog. Ní earing bo sprele he time fain sever galore. Islam kirky go vede go have on glanas cheer on. Smaranari me besi me tire condemn yo. Rocky me morrock egg Jane of Lana van Glan. Gon coatas, gon voj, gon groin brocker billum. Och de lor na crave mare di lapos mokyon. Soro yacht manam jegus egg fekens haram manal. Buachalocht bio malo, nar clocht mishriav. E gimmert se gola, hoog van a jassa antliav. Mo chael me mo stor, ni mo jagger chael me mo kiel. Ni molum the fog, non brog atomic chael blian. Buachal on Ernest me breaking fain Colleen Jasog. Ní earing bo sprele he time fain sever galore. Islam kirky go vede go have on glanas cheer on. Smaranari me besi me tire condemn yo.
Thank you so much. Even though I didn't understand a word, there's so much power in those folk songs. Yeah. And that is why also you decided to record an album all about or with Irish folk songs.
Yeah.
But it's not out yet, right?
No.
Okay.
So a guy I went to college with, my friend Brendan Walsh, we did a gig earlier in the year at a little festival in Ireland called the Shannonside Winter Music Festival. And his dad organises it, and we did the opening concert, and we arranged a load of songs, and afterwards he was like, we should do something with this. So he said, come to Switzerland. He lives in Lucerne. He said, come to Switzerland, we'll record a record. We picked 15 songs and we recorded 13 over 2 days. We've made videos and a photo shoot and all of that, so it's ready to go almost. It's being mixed at the minute, and once it's probably going to come out in January. But we'll take it on tour a little bit, I think.
So how is it recording Irish folk songs in Switzerland?
It was interesting. So Brendan's obviously Irish, and he'd done all the arrangements. He plays classical guitar, and he'd made some beautiful arrangements of the songs. And we recorded in a place called Soundville Studios, which is where Celine Dion recorded the Eurovision winning song that she did years ago or whatever, which was for France, I believe, but they recorded it in Switzerland. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the guys working in the desk like that were like yourself, you know, they're like, I have no idea what you said, but it sounded amazing. And then there were moments of them trying to pronounce the songs. So we'd get feedback and they'd have read it, and like you, they'd be like, Bukel in Anua, like, and you'd be like, yes, perfect, that's fine, just write it down. So it was really easy. We didn't, because there was only two of us and we did it live, so we had this kind of glass panel between us, and I could see him, and we were trying to be as close as possible to each other without me affecting his microphone sound and him affecting mine, and but we just kind of pressed record and did loads of songs.
Can you describe the feeling you have when you sing in Irish, the Irish folk songs, compared to when you sing a song you may have written yourself, or maybe a song by Joni Mitchell or, you know, someone else? What is the difference of the feeling inside your gut when you sing an Irish folk song?
Wow. I suppose it feels like it really resonates with you because it's kind of your roots, you know, and in Irish, in Ireland, we learn the language Irish from 4 years of age. You learn it all the way up through school, until you're 18 and you do exams in it and everything. And a lot of people, and I think a lot of people struggle with the language because the teachers aren't good. Okay. But I had really good teachers, and I went to the Gaeltacht, which is a summer college where you go away for 3 weeks and you only speak Irish, and everybody's there to speak Irish, and it's amazing. So I think when you've learned it and you really connect with the language even, it helps you to kind of sing and make it mean something. It's not just like a phonetic sound where you learn a song in another language and you don't really know what it means, or kind of...
With the next song, we will all understand the lyrics, and it's a song from your album, Firing Pins. Mm-hmm. It's the song that was released as the first single from the album, and it's about friendships that need to be changed. Is that the best way to describe?
Well, nurtured.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't nurture your friendships, they kind of die off. It's just about kind of looking after your friends and making sure that you look after the friendships as well, because if you don't give people time, then you kind of fall apart. It's
such a beautiful song, I can tell you already. I loved listening to it and watching the video online, and now we get to hear you play it live here. So Lilacs from Firing Pins, and how that all came about, we'll talk about that later. Thank you.
I got lost near the middle way. Compassion has just one rule. The single thing is to remain. Respect and love and pain is change. Don't you trim me bare. If you stop me bloom, thought I left it clear. If you spread me thin or leave me still, I'll pass in time. You can be sure, like those lilacs in June. Are you always free to attain? Emptiness has just one rule: to leave your mind, and to sometimes leave your cold standing for all that's gone. Don't you trim me bare if you stop me blue. Thought I left it clear. If you spread me thin or leave me still, I'll pass in time, you can be sure, like those lilacs in June.
Such a beautiful song. When I first met you a couple of years ago, I was backstage at a festival, so at the acoustic festival in Düsseldorf, and you were with Mark Geary, I think, and everyone was loud. So it was like a meeting, a typical Irish cliche, you know, you're loud and rough, and you know, and then you got on stage, and I thought, oh my goodness, she's so gentle and so vulnerable. When is the first time that you felt you could be vulnerable and gentle when you were singing music and making music?
So like you said, we met through me singing with Mark, and I think I learned so much singing as a backing singer. Do you know? Before that, I'd been in bands and kind of, you know, you were singing, and I was singing other people's songs. So we were writing in a room, and everybody was singing those songs. You know, but I found with being on stage with Mark, I was able to be there. People weren't necessarily watching me because it wasn't my gig, so they were watching him. So I would stand and I could look around the room and I could see what was going on and who was paying attention or who was talking at the bar or whatever. And you get an insight to kind of like the room and what's going on. And I really think that helped me or affected how then I perform or how I behave on stage, because it made me feel really comfortable just standing there, you know. And I suppose it took me a long time. I didn't start writing songs until shortly after I met Mark. We did a festival, a little gig down in the south of Ireland, and this woman from Wales came to me and said, I'm organising a female performers festival in Wales and I'd like you to come. And I was like, okay. And it was like maybe 5 or 6 months later, and I thought, okay, I'm going to write some songs for this. This is going to be my mission, that I write some songs. So I did, and I suppose that was the first time I ever performed, and it was easier to do it in a place where I knew nobody. I'd gone to Wales, and the only person who knew me was the woman who said, come and play at my festival. So that helped, I suppose, from a performance perspective, because I wasn't thinking about my friends listening to me or any of that, you know. And I think it's probably just grown out of that, you know.
It wasn't your first song about falling off a cliff or something like that? Or was that? Did I get that wrong?
Falling off a
I
cliff.
thought it was something. I thought you'd written it when you were really little, but maybe I would.
Oh, I wrote a song with a friend of mine in college.
Ah, okay. But was that falling off or?
Well, it was about her drunken housemates.
That's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Maybe they were jumping off cliffs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I read or I heard you saying you don't really like, well, of course you like making music because of the songs and lyrics, but you love it because of the harmonizing.
Yeah.
And you'd love to harmonize with yourself if that were possible. So being on stage with something like Mark Geary is probably exactly what you love doing. I mean, apart from being here and singing by yourself.
Yeah,
too,
like I hear harmony, you know, like and like when I'm at other gigs or other people's gigs, I find it really hard not to sing along, you know. And I have been known to just like go, do you know what? To hell with it, I'm doing it. So I just love. I love hearing it, and I would like to be able to do it with myself. And I suppose you can do that in a recorded format, or you can use pedals or whatever. I haven't kind of figured that out yet, but I do love harmony. Yeah.
Well, you're really good at it. So if you ever get the chance to see her on stage with another person, you should definitely go to see her. Between the Pines, what is the song about?
So this is a kind of a new song. I've got lots of new songs at the minute, which is good. But it's a song that I wrote last summer. I got an Arts Council travel and training grant to go to the US and do a songwriting retreat. And I went to LA, which was amazing. I ended up the mountains in a place called Idlewild, and we were doing lots of co-writing with people up there, all of them from the US and one girl from France. But this was a song that I wrote afterwards, kind of about that experience, sort of. It was kind of a bizarre place. It was like at the top of a mountain, and it was kind of like an alpine village, but we were in California, and it was like all these kind of wooden houses, and it wasn't what I expected of California as such, you know. But it was really lovely. So kind of, after writing songs up there, I decided I'd write a song about it.
What did you learn from the American singer-songwriters that were there with you?
The people that were on the course were not practicing singer-songwriters.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So they were, but did you learn anything musically or no, I mean, did they teach you something, the way they work with music?
Well, the guy that was facilitating it, because the retreat was all about co-writing. So basically what he did was, he would start every day and he would give you a jumping off point. Oh, okay. So it could be, the first day we did a free write. The second day like kind of the triangle of songwriting is like rhythm, lyrics and melody. So lyrics was the free write, and then the rhythm set the day he said, go out into the forest, find some things to bang off each other and make some rhythms. And then the next day he was like, go for a walk, think of some melodies and just like record them into your phone and come back and play them to your partner. Then we went into the village and we were told to spy on somebody. Because we had to go and sit in a cafe or on the street and pick a person and like watch them and then create a story that surrounded that person and write a song about them. Like completely like just made up, but it was an interesting kind of article or way of doing it. And the last one then was like take a newspaper or a book, open it, pick a word and just write about everything that you can think of or where your mind goes to with that word, and then kind of use that as a starting point.
So I'd say you at home should see if you can see if the person that she had to spy on is in the song or the word is in the song. So Between the Pines.
Thanks.
I'll take the freeway where it leads me, over rivers and desert lands. Drive 40 miles to get 1 mile high, to rest between the pines, with California on my mind. There is music in the woods there, where the squirrel and chipmunk roam. Ageless faces with the kindest eyes rest between the pines, with California on their minds. When the hummingbird it reappears and the wind changes its tune, and the miles I see are fading, the time to go is soon. Up where the air is thin and clouds are few, we are gathered for to sing. Sing out to the trees and leave our songs to rest between the pines with California on my mind. When the hummingbird it reappears and the wind changes its tune and the miles I see are fading, the time to go is soon. Pam's to Pines and back again, an eclipse in your eyes. Blue and green are always seen. Look up, look up, look up, look up at Idlewild. When the hummingbird it reappears and the wind changes its tune and the miles I see are fading, the time to go is soon. The time to go is soon. The time to go is soon.
Yeah, you can feel the Californian pine woods in there. Very beautiful song. Thank you so much for that. I would like to go back a little bit to your childhood in Carrickmacross and growing up there, because I think, what is it called? It means Rock of the Wooded Plain. Alone, just hearing that seems like you have to sit down and write a song. How was it living in a small town like that? And who influenced you musically back then?
Like you say, it was a small town, and I suppose musically I felt like I had I tell people I had a sheltered musical childhood, you know. I didn't have I didn't do a lot of the kind of popular kind of indie music that people kind of my age were kind of listening to. And I think as a teenager, I ended up spending more time horse riding than probably doing things that my peers were doing. So I ended up in a car with my mother driving up and down to Galway, listening to the Everly Brothers and Simon and Garfunkel, and so that's my harmony thing.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
there, you know what I mean? And I think we were surrounded by a lot of the Irish folk. Like ballad singers, like so the Dubliners, and A Woman's Heart came out in and around that time as well. So like a lot of Mary Black, Eleanor McAvoy, Dolores Keane. So a lot of that kind of stuff was, and that was the stuff that after we went horse riding, we would go to the pub, even as a very underage person, and we would sit and sing songs, and just like.
But it was for your mother. Was it? Was she musically inclined, or did she go to the pub to to party?
So my mum, she used to be in a folk group when she was younger, and that's how she met my dad. They were in kind of like small choral groups. They used to do like 3 and 4 part harmony singing groups and compete. But she played guitar, and she taught guitar to some of the local kids in the evening classes and adults as well. So there was always a guitar in the house, but never something that I played. I didn't do that for a really long time.
Why not?
Because she did it. I didn't need to.
Oh, okay. But
she used to play the songs. I would sing them. It was grand.
I can imagine you in the car, coming back from the stables and just listening to music and singing and harmonizing, and that feeling that you're with somebody that you love and you trust. You can kind of harmonize. It doesn't really matter, and that's the way you learn without worrying about that could be wrong. That's
exactly.
Such a great thing when you're growing up as a child. And even now you can sit in the car and sing with friends. Totally. It works as well. Is that all you need? Is that maybe something to do with needing your parents and love from around?
Love from around, certainly, not necessarily your parents. I wrote this for a friend of mine. So in Dublin, I was living in a house share, and I got on really well with one of the girls, and we were hanging out or whatever. But she struggled sometimes with being up and down, and she's really good at talking about it, which is really important. And mental health is something that Irish people are talking about a lot now, and just awareness of what we should be doing, or how we should help people. Because there's a stigma attached to saying like I'm having a bad day, I'm struggling. You can say that you have cancer, or you've got a sore arm or a broken leg, but you don't want to say I'm depressed or I've got anxiety. But the idea of the song came about because I felt like while lots of people can open up to you, it can be really difficult to know how to react or what to say to people. And I wanted her to know that kind of what she was feeling was valid, and that I was here for her, and that I loved her. Like, do you know what I mean? I think Irish people are really bad at saying like,
oh,
I love
really?
you. Yeah.
I thought you Irish people were very open about your feelings. I mean, not necessarily the bad feelings, but you just describe it more like, hey, I love you, and you're great. And
I think now, yes,
okay.
but I think maybe it's changing through the generations, and maybe social media changes that, and everybody sends like hearts and kisses on on WhatsApp or whatever. But I think, yeah, like that actual expression of like, oh well, like I'll tell you that I love you, is not easy, So I did think then as well, the idea was like, obviously if other people had friends who needed to hear this and they weren't sure how to say it, that you could play them a song, and that this would be it.
So I do have to ask you what her reaction was when she heard it the first time.
Because I played it a few times, and I told people the story as to why I was playing it. So I played it here, and I played it in the US, and then there was a gig that I was doing in Dublin, and she came along, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I couldn't introduce it because I thought if I introduce it, I'm going to cry. And then when I was singing it, I was like, I can't look at her, because if I look at her, I'm going to cry. It's the only way I can express my emotions, in tears. So afterwards, she kind of looked at me, and like she smiled, and afterwards she came up to me and she's like, I think maybe I dedicated it to her, I can't remember, but she was like, was that for me? And I was like, yeah, I wrote that for you. And she was like, I thought so. She was really chuffed. She was really chuffed. So she's been a couple of places that I've played it as well. So, but yeah, it's cool.
And that's one of the best presents you could give anyone. Write a song. Unbelievable. So this is all you need for your friend and for you at home as well, of course. And for me. Ha.
Okay.
I don't know if I can help you, but I'll try the best I can. If you tell me that you need me, I'll hold your hand, 'cause I know that you are worth it, though it's something you can't see. And I know that you will get there. Just walk with me. What you are feeling is oh so true. You are all you need and more. I can tell that you are not sure, and I know that makes you tired. So just take a little time now to get inspired. So we'll sit and talk in silence, then we'll sit and talk with words, and we'll take this on together to get you heard. What you are feeling is oh so true. You are all you need and more. You should know that I need you. You are the only one of you, and I love you. What you are feeling is oh so true. You are all you need and know if I can help you, but I'll try the best I can.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. I'm trying not to tear up myself, actually. Pull yourself together, Emily. You've played, of course, at big festivals and in front of lots of people, and also, of course, I'm sure within your career in pubs where people are drinking and are very loud. Mm-hmm. Can you remember a situation when you were in a pub and you started playing and you realized people started listening and you were changing the way their evening was going to go?
I suppose, I think that it happens in many different situations. Do you know what I mean? You kind of, sometimes it is a noisy pub where someone says, "Oh, get up and give us a song," and you're like, "Oh no," because you've watched maybe your friend do it and they've been playing for the night and nobody's listening. I think sometimes. But equally, sometimes you get up and it feels like nobody's going to turn around and they don't. So it just kind of, I suppose it depends. Like I did a thing recently in a little pub, and I don't do a lot of pub gigs. But a friend asked me to come along and do like a little guest slot, and I thought, oh, this could be a car crash. And actually, like that, there wasn't a huge PA system. So like really the closest people to you were the only people who could actually properly hear. But all of those people were listening, you know. And I always say, you know, when you're in situations like that, silence is not loud enough. When you're trying to be listened to, you know. So the guy at the bar ordering his pint, who's already had 6 and doesn't realise how loud he is always going to be louder than the silence that you need. Do you know what I mean? So but
and how does that make you feel as an artist?
People not listening?
Yeah.
It's one of those difficult things because obviously everybody's got their own taste, and that guy at the bar could be into metal music for all I know, and that's not what I do, and that's fine. He doesn't have to listen to me. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you're playing in those situations where you are technically being employed as background music, then you can't really expect too much from an audience. I think it's probably worse if you have a concert where people have paid in or are supposed to be coming to see you and they do not stop talking. And that's very disheartening because you feel like, why did you come? Why are you here? You know,
and so you do notice that as an artist when people are, or I sometimes think, you know, some artists might stand there and they kind of zone out and don't even know what's going on, but you do as an artist notice what's going on.
Yeah, I think you do end up having to zone out in those situations because you absolutely are aware of it because it is louder than silence, you know, and while the first row of 20 people could be listening, it only takes one person, you know. And we were talking yesterday about, you know, the power of negativity. And even if you're in a room of people and let's say there's 40 people listening, but there's 2 people having a conversation at the back of the room, even though 38 are like so into what you're doing, all you are focused on are the 2 people who won't stop talking. And it's amazing how like that and that kind of, that affects how you behave, you know what I mean? And you're in your head, you're going, why aren't they listening? Why are those 2, you know what I mean? And you don't know, like it could be, they could be having major drama, like, but it's the 2 and you kind of forget about the 38 who are really into what you're doing. So it totally affects you.
Those 2 people should be saying sorry to you at the end. Who are you saying sorry to in the next song?
Well, basically I wrote this song as an apology that I was waiting to receive. So when somebody won't apologise when they should, and I tell the story when I tell the song, but I have a friend who says things like, "I'm sorry that you feel that way," you know. So yeah. So I spoke to somebody about it, and she works in retail, and she was like, you know, that's something that somebody in retail would use a lot because, you know, if someone comes back with a product and they're not happy with it, you would say, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way because it's not your problem. You know what I mean? You're not sorry that they're unhappy because it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Whereas when somebody isn't very nice to you or does something where they should apologize, saying that you're sorry that you feel that way does not cut it. So I decided that I would just write the apology that I was waiting for.
So will you elaborate on who this, or not the person, but like what the story was behind it, or is that a secret?
It was a realization of a lot of things, actually, really. And sometimes when you hear the word sorry, you automatically go, oh, he said sorry. Whereas when you actually think back to it, or maybe when you're lying in bed one night, you're just about to drift off, and then you go, hold on a minute. That's not what he said. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I went out with a guy once. He used to say things like, you'd say something and go, do you promise? And he'd say yes. And then it took me a really long time to realise that by saying yes, he wasn't promising. He was just saying yes. And in his head, that was how he worked. It's like, I didn't say I promised.
No,
I said yes. Mm-hmm. It's like the power of words and perception, because it's what you want to hear.
And I think we just found out now that Grainne is not a quiet fighter. You get loud. I'm pretty sure when you get angry, you get loud.
Totally.
Which, yeah, that's so cool. This is not a loud song, though. Or is it? Sorry?
No, well, no.
It doesn't have to be anyway. No. The person who's it's about will know. Anyway, sorry.
Just to make sure.
The hardest word to say is not very long or complicated. Caught in my throat, my pride denies me. But if not losing you means swallowing my pride, there is something I should say to you. If you'll hear me, I'll say it now. I am sorry, I regret the things I've done, and I apologize to you if what I did, it hurt your feelings. And I'll say the words and I will change the way that I behave, and I will show you that I mean it when I say it. The biggest risk to take is lay down your heart or break it. Just one more chance, would you give me? I'll follow honesty, promise not to let you down. There is something I should say to you. If you'll hear me, I'll say it now. I am sorry, I regret the things I've done, and I apologize to you if what I did, it hurt your feelings. And I'll say the words and I will change the way that I behave, and I will show you that I mean it when I say it. What can I do to make it right? Tell me now. What can I do to make it right? I am sorry, I regret the things I've done, and I apologize to you if what I did, it hurt your feelings. And I'll say the words and I will change the way that I behave, and I will show you that I mean it when I say it. I will show you that I mean it when I say it. Yes, I will show you that I mean it when I say it.
think you get the message then. Absolutely. Firing Pin is your album that came out a couple of years ago. And this is it, by the way, just so everyone can see it. It has some wonderful songs, and we're going to hear the title song of the album in a minute. The artwork is, by the way, it's done by Gary Redden Inc.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. I'm not going to open it right now, but I'll turn around like this. You guys can look at it at home. You can look online or just buy the album. That's probably the best thing to do, and you have it at home. And it was produced by Joe Chester.
Yeah.
How was it working with him, and how was it working on your own album anyway, being in the studio doing that?
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, so I met a friend, I met a guy who became a friend, I suppose, who was like, you got to get into the studio. And I was like, okay. So we started kind of writing together, and he was like, let's do this. Let's talk to Joe, get you in. And I was like, do you know what? Sometimes you just literally need someone to kick you and say, do it.
But why were you so worried about it before?
It's not even that I suppose at the time I wasn't really doing any writing. Once I wrote those songs and I went to Wales, I became really complacent because I went back singing, doing the things with Mark, and I was like, oh, I've written those songs, it's fine. Don't need to write anymore. And then people were always asking me, like, what are you doing? Or when are you doing something else? And when are you going to do a CD? And da-da-da. And I think it's probably easy. It's easy to go along and sing at a Mark show and be there singing along, and people are like, "Oh, you're great." I'm like, "Thanks," but there's no kind of responsibility, or you don't have to do anything, Whereas when you're doing your own stuff and putting it out there, it's a whole different set of emotions. But James was like, let's bring this to studio. Let's talk to Joe. So I met James the beginning of January, and by the end of February we were in studio, and we just went in and recorded it kind of like Switzerland, very quick.
Oh, really?
Got the guys in, we were ready to go. We did 2 days pre-production. We'd rehearsed all the songs. So the thing that took the longest really was the vocal, because we were working so hard over a few days. I think what ended up happening was, when you just you get really run down. So I ended up getting the flu and singing on the last day, you could hear it in my voice and there was no point. So we said, right, well, let's do another day and a half, a week away or whatever. So we did that. And actually then it was done. And then I became really kind of like, well, it's done. Even though I hadn't done anything with it, or I hadn't finished the artwork. So I just had to, again, kind of kick myself and go, my God, okay, finish the artwork, get them printed up, do something about it, and just put it out. Which I kind of need to do that to myself again right now. That's where I am.
Yes. Well, you just finished an album, though. I mean, it's not your songs, but still,
yeah. It doesn't count.
It does. It does. Oh no. But and how was the feeling when you had the first album in your hands that it was finished?
When I went to collect them, I was working at the time, and I left the office, and I was driving a car, and I'd ordered 1,000 CDs, and I don't know why in my head, right? I don't know what was wrong with me, where I thought 1,000 CDs was going to be a huge amount of CDs. So I got there, and I was like, oh, well, maybe they won't all fit in my car. Oh my God. I know I buy CDs all the time. I know what size a CD is, but the concept of 1,000 just didn't really occur to me. So I got there, and I went in and I paid my bill or whatever, and they helped me take them out to the car. So it was 2 kind of large boxes, which had 400 in each, and then a box of 200, which was tiny. And I ended up taking a picture of it and putting it up on my Instagram. I was of course I was really excited, but I was also kind of thinking about myself, going, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why did I think 1,000 CDs was going to be so much that it wasn't going to fit in my car? But yeah, it was great. It was great to actually have them, and then because we actually went on tour with Glenn Hansard the following day, after me collecting the CDs. So I was able to bring them with me, even though I hadn't been released yet, and I was able to kind of sell some of them.
And you took all of them with you? Or
no. Although they weren't that large, so I probably could have. No, I think I took a box or something. But
we're going to talk about Glenn afterwards, but I'm going to hear Firing Pin now from this album. And there are definitely more than 1,000 that have been printed by now. So anyway, Firing Pin, Grainne Hunt. Thanks. You.
Breathe, don't sigh. Hold it in. Take your stand. Pull the firing pin. I am certain that it's time. bulb has blown, driving home. Take.
I literally have just had a mind. I've lost it. Let's do it again. Has blown,
driving home. Take these shells from my skin and soul. I am certain that it's time. I am certain that it's time. I'm just tired and I've had enough. Take your voice, we are enough. Take my side. Were you certain about me when you dropped me there? Did you ever think you'd regret it? 'Cause it's not your fault, leave those people you lost. I'm dead certain about that. Words bring change from within. Talk of heaven, oh God, and sin. I am certain that it's time. I am certain that it's time.
we call that a brain fart.
Oh, you do? That's an Irish way of saying things. You do have I love the way you say the word. Can you? Am I allowed to say this? The word fuck, but you say you don't say fuck. You say feckin', whatever. Is that? Can you
I'm
say
trying to
that?
be polite.
But can you say that in Ireland?
Feckin', yeah,
people
yeah.
don't. People aren't
Well,
like,
like,
oh my goodness.
Feck or fecking is kind of like the polite way. So as a teenager, you can say feck. Maybe not so much. You definitely can't say fuck.
Like not when you're in Irish Catholic school, but at home maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's a much more kind of acceptable way of saying it.
Okay.
But so that's me trying to behave myself.
Are there any swear words in Irish you can teach me that are maybe not too terrible, but that
Actual swear words.
Are there swear words?
I don't think so. Like there's always the kind of one where you tell people to kiss your ass, which is pogue Mahone.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
Pogue
pogue Mahone. Yeah, that's a good one.
Anyway, let's get back to the music. You travel a lot, and you don't always stay in hotels. You also stay with people. You don't, you stay in people's homes, which I think must be the most amazing thing because you get to know. I mean, just walking into people's houses and seeing how they live, I think is so interesting.
Great.
Yeah, and you experience the most amazing things. I was reading your blog on your website. She has a wonderful blog, by the way, on her website where she writes down what happens and where you've been and stuff like that. And there's one story about having to fly to Vienna. You were in Sylt in Germany, and you had to fly to Vienna, and Air Berlin decided to go bankrupt. So what happened?
So I had booked my flight. So Sylt at the time, there's a little airport there, and Air Berlin flew from Sylt, and I could get a flight at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and it would take me via Dusseldorf actually, and then to Vienna. And I spent like €535 on this flight, one way, so that I would make this show. So I had these gigs with Mark, and Sylt was the Friday night show, and I was in Vienna on the Saturday night, and so my friend rang me like a week before, and he's like, I'm just looking at your details and you have an Air Berlin flight booked. And he's like, those guys don't operate anymore. And I had no idea. They didn't contact me. So I had a week to prepare, and I was actually in Germany staying with this couple with Mark, and we were just trying to figure out how I could do it, because the only way that I could do it when I was looking at it was if I took that flight, because the trains off the island didn't start till a certain time, and if I took a train off first thing in the morning, I wouldn't make it to Hamburg to get the first flight to Vienna, and if I didn't get the first flight, I wouldn't make the show. So what I ended up doing was, so these people called these other people, who called it more people, so friends of friends of friends, who I'd never met, and asked them would they take me for the night. So they came along and picked me up from the train station on Friday night at like 11 p.m, took me to their home, put me in their spare room with a bed and everything, and like fed me and watered me, woke me up at 4 o'clock, took me back down to the train station.
They took you.
Yeah,
that's
like,
amazing.
Like, yeah. Like, God, I didn't say like there's the number of a taxi, like took me down. And it actually turned out when we got there was a couple of other people waiting for the same train, and then there was a sign, it wasn't on the board, and we're going like, oh my God, I'm going to get a bus, are you serious? And then so the guy's like running around trying to figure out, of course it's the last platform from the entrance of the door, and you know, we're standing waiting for a bus, and he's like down there and he's like shouting, he's like, come on, the train is now going. So it had been cancelled because they were having technical issues, and then suddenly we're on the train and we're going to Hamburg. But people are amazing. Like, just like the fact that somebody who you've never met would open their home and bring you in and then drive you around the place and bring you to like the train station at 4 o'clock in the morning, like ridiculous.
Amazing. And I'm sure you've had other experiences like that. Just the idea that people open their house to have you come stay with them, and they get to listen to your music as well. So that's you know, a nice handoff.
Yes. Well, now I owe them a house concert, so I'll have to come back and give them a house concert. But yeah, most of the time when you're staying in people's houses, it's because you've done a show. So tonight I go to Meerbush, and I've got a show with Sabine and Thomas, and they are putting me up. That's my second show in their house.
So I do want to know, I don't know if you can say this here though, have you ever walked into a house and thought, oh no, or maybe an Airbnb that we didn't meet the people and thought, oh no, where did I end up here?
One thing I've learned a lot of things, but what I end up doing is I bring a hot water bottle with me, because sometimes you're somewhere and it's just really cold. Or like we were somewhere one night in the UK that was so damp. Like I literally was in bed with all of my clothes on, socks, hoodie, hood up, like completely clothed, and so cold. Like I hate the like I love the sunshine. I don't deal with it very well from my skin perspective, but yeah. So a hot water bottle is key, and like a big scarf. You know, a big scarf that you can use as a pillow, or you can use as an extra blanket, or.
So you know how to do it.
Yeah, like
sure.
you kind of learn things along the way, you know.
I see a song called "So Cold in Your Future" or something like that. Little Bird Sing. What is that about?
So I wrote that for a friend of mine. Basically, she's a musician as well, and sometimes she hates it and is like, "I'm never doing this. Like, I'm going to get a real job. I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, it's really disheartening. I'm not happy." And then maybe a week later she'll ring and go, "I've written a new song. I'm going to do a new album. I'm going to take over the world." So it basically was just that the idea was like to get her to keep singing. So it's called Little Bird Sing. Yeah.
I would say that musicians or artists do have an interesting mentality sometimes. You know, about how they see their own songs and how good they are.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to you talk. I also think you sometimes kind of think, I'm not good enough, and then you do think, I'm good enough. And I can tell you, you're definitely good enough. Absolutely. And you should. I think you're not considering stopping, right?
No.
Oh, good.
No.
This is about your song.
This is actually about a friend. It's not about myself.
Good. Little Bird Sing.
I'm going to swap guitars for this, so we're going to do a little costume change.
There you go.
So thank you to Martin for the lend of this one. So these are in different tunings. This is why.
Well, tune away.
little bird. Little bird, loose your wings, let it out. You hold your things inside. Tell me it's not here. No, you're right, but fear. Come by, rest for a while. Come this way and sing, sing. Let it go, be a bird flow. This sacred nest, this cage, this home, gliding over seas like feathered friends, all free. Come by, rest for a while. Come this way and sing. You can sit on a while. You can let it hold you. You can sit on a while. You can let it go. Come by, rest for a while. Come this way and sing, and sing, sing, sing.
Thank you so much. I was reading a review on our firing pin, and someone wrote, "You don't take the straight way. You veer left and you veer right when you write songs, and the songs that you have on this album and other songs as well." I would say I would agree completely. Do you think that describes your character as well?
Wow. I think I'm pretty direct, but I suppose maybe I try and go around it each way and test it before I kind of go straight in. Possibly, yeah. That's an interesting. we'd have to ask my friend Shell, and see what she says.
And what about musically? Would you agree with that description of your songs?
I suppose some of them, yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think when you look at the likes of Sorry, then no, because I think that's fairly straight down the line. But some of it, yeah, is kind of. Just kind of, I suppose, maybe trying to package it up in a nice way of putting it is probably how I'd like to think I'm doing it.
You absolutely are, for sure. When we talked about Mark Erie already, and you also were on tour with Glenn Hazard. How was that?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So that was with Mark, and we did 5 nights over a week. We started off in Paris, and then we went to Brussels, Stockholm, Aarhus, and Copenhagen, and. It was awesome. I'd never been on a tour bus before. I didn't know what to expect, and some of the musicians I didn't know before, and it's a really intense experience, because you go and you do these shows, and then you get back on the bus and you go to bed and you wake up in another country. And then you come out and you go into the venue and they've got like shower facilities and, you know, you kind of clean yourself up and maybe go and get some lunch and get some coffee and then come back and do a show, and then you get back on the bus and you go to bed and you wake up in another country. But like the friendships that were made, like, were just like, after a week when I was saying goodbye, like, maybe it was more so because it was good. There were some girls on the bus, like we hung out and it was amazing. So when I was leaving, like, I got really upset because we just had such an amazing week together, and it was that's the thing, you think about it going, like, if I wouldn't get upset after knowing someone for a week, but it's incredible how you do, you know. And one of the girls actually lives in LA. So I met up with her when I was there last year and we got to hang out, and she took loads of cool photographs of me, and we went to Universal and she made me a total tourist. It was great.
So of course you don't go to bed straight away when you're on tour. You're on the bus and you sit down and talk about, you don't talk about what happened on stage mostly, right? You talk about other things.
Yeah, I mean, you just have conversations about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Generally though, because like you could get off stage and like it kind of, the lobby call or the bus call could be for like midnight or 1 o'clock, and everybody needs to get a night's sleep. Like, it's like, I think what I learned as well is that it's not all like sex, drugs, rock and roll, you know. It's
what a shame.
Yeah, well, you go back to the bus and you're like, right, we've got another show tomorrow, so we go to bed. One night we sat up and we had some drinks. Because we didn't have a show the next night, so we had a day off, so there was like a recovery time. But it's all very like, everyone's quite sensible because you're living for 3 weeks as they were in that space. I was there for a week, and you know, we left and other people joined them. But when you're in a confined space like that with people as well, I suppose, like, if everyone gets drunk every night, things get said that nobody wants to hear. Like, you know, it becomes
true, yeah.
Exactly. So you've got to be kind of conscious of the friendships that you're creating and the relationships that you have with these people, and just making sure that you're not too in their face, but you know, so it's...
And I'm sure a lot of secrets are shared.
What goes on tour stays on tour.
No, I didn't want to know. I just wanted to know if this secret has anything to do with what you learned on that tour. No. What is this secret about?
So this secret, I wrote this about the west of Ireland, about being happy, basically. So Irish people don't tend to spend a lot of time by the sea, even though we live in an island.
I thought you were going to say Irish people don't spend a lot of time being happy.
Well, who knows? I couldn't paint them all with that brush. But even though we live in an island and everybody's actually not that far from being by the sea, but just because the weather's not great. So I find that when I go, I pick up like stones and shells and I put them in my pocket, and maybe that jacket goes in the boot of the car and I don't wear it for a little while, and I put it back on me and put my hand in my pocket and I take out this little treasure that brings me back to that place by the beach where I was. And it took me a really long time to realise, like probably 35 years to realise that I fucking love to be by the sea. I probably shouldn't have said that.
You said feckin', everything's fine.
Like, I love it. And there's something very grounding, I think, about like, just, I suppose it's the nature thing, and like taking your shoes off and walking on the sand and putting your toes in the water. So it's just kind of a little bit of happiness. So my secret is happiness.
Then take us to the sea, please. Okay. Thank you.
Let's just double check. Okay.
Take me west of the city. Take me down by the sea. Where the waves kiss the shoreline. Oh, where the sea kisses me. Take my hand, we'll go walking. Take the lead on the sand. Where the water has been now. Oh, where the wind meets the land. Stones in my pockets and salt on my skin. There's diamonds among us. There's beauty within. In light and in music, in shells at my ear. Oh, whisper this secret, it's happiness here. Take a boat to the island. Take a look back at the land. Where my name sounds so different. Oh, where in the harbor we swam. Stones in my pockets and salt on my skin. There's diamonds among us. There's beauty within. In light and in music, in shells at my ear. Oh, whisper this secret, it's happiness here. Happiness here. Happiness here. Happiness here. Happiness here.
Yeah, you can just feel the ocean and the happiness. It's such a lovely place to be, absolutely.
Yeah.
If people have been to your shows, they know that, or sometimes you play Both Sides Now from Joni Mitchell,
Yes.
a beautiful rendition of it, and it's one of my favorite Joni Mitchell songs, which probably millions of other people say the same thing. You're going to play a Joni Mitchell song called Joni.
No, it's called Both Sides Now. I wrote that because it's Joni.
Oh,
as in,
I thought that was like a Joni song that
song.
I'd never heard of before. Oh, well, great. I'm so glad because it's my favorite song. You talked about Simon and Garfunkel and other people, and Joni Mitchell is probably, I would expect someone who's influenced you greatly.
She's I think Joni was probably somebody that I probably only started listening to when I got to college. So like that Joni came with Tom Waits. That was another kind of college revelation for me with one of my college buddies. But like Court and Spark and Blue, and we did a string arrangement of some of her stuff when I was in college as well. One of the girls, so we just kind of, it was great. It's like they're like the vocal range and how she moves it, and it's just it's amazing.
Have there been any other musicians in the past, in the younger years now, that have influenced you the same way? And you've newer musicians that you maybe seen on the road and thought, oh my goodness, they move me.
Like I suppose, what I ended up doing as a in and around the same time when I was kind of listening to like the likes of Joni and Tom Waits and like I discovered kind of the Irish music scene, and I had moved, so I went to university in a place called Maynooth, which is just outside Dublin,
you can jump on a dart and get into the city. And myself and my friend Sinead, we kind of discovered the Frames and Glenn Hansard and Bell X1 and Mundy and Paddy Casey and Mark Geary. And we used to just go to those shows. Damien Rice had come out and played in Maynooth at an open mic night before O came out, before any of that. And so like that scene really, I suppose it was one of those things where I probably should have been doing it at the time, but I wasn't playing the guitar and I wasn't writing, so I wasn't part of it, you know. But it would have been a great time to be doing it. I should have done it, hindsight. But all of that, I listened to a lot of those. I'm trying to think like what else was. I had an iPod.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was on my iPod? Yeah, like I listened to an awful lot of the Irish musicians, like Declan O'Rourke, but he came a little bit later. Yeah, I suppose the fact that when you're seeing people from your own country doing it, it makes you go, oh, yeah, you can do that. Like, and then I suppose when you realise and you start doing it, you realise Ireland is so full of amazing musicians.
Absolutely.
There's so many great musicians who are like between playing in bars and pubs and actually trying to carve out a career for them, or the ones that have moved out of Ireland going, do you know what, I'm going to try and make it here. And I've met so many people in the last couple of days going, do you know this guy? He's Irish and he lives out the road from Haldern and he plays with his dad in a band. Or do you know this guy? And like loads of people that I've never heard of. And it's great.
It's like when people say to me, "Oh, you're American, so you know I have a friend in Utah." Yeah, that's good, but I guess it's different in the music scene. I'm sure you do know a lot of people that they ask you about.
Sometimes,
yeah,
sometimes.
We are now going to listen to a song called Joni, better known as Both Sides Now.
Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and they snow on everyone. So many things I could have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions that I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way that you feel, and every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked in love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusion that I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads and they tell me that I've changed. Well, something's lost and something's gained in living every day. I've looked in life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life's illusion that I recall. I really don't know life. I've looked in life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions that I recall. Love's illusions that I recall. Life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life at all.
One of the best songs ever.
I absolutely agree. It's amazing.
What do you think? What is a song?
I did an interview recently with a guy who asked all those, who asked all of those kind of questions, and I think it's such a multitude of things, you know, because there's a story, and then anybody can tell a story, or you can tell a story with words, and I can connect with somebody. But I think honesty is a huge part of it, because it's got to resonate with people. And I think if you're honest with what you're saying, then people will connect with it. Even if they haven't experienced it, if you're being honest and that comes through in your words, but also in how you express it. So like the melody, and, you know, there's so much. It would be lovely to be able to like pinpoint it to one thing, but I suppose if it was just one thing, then everybody would do it and it'd be really easy. But it's not, I suppose, you know. So.
Well, I mean, being honest is something that not everybody is good at, especially when you're, you know, putting your soul out on a tablet for everybody to kind of look at. I mean, I was asking you because you just talked about being in California and learning how to write a song, and maybe he said, you know, a sentence is, well, you talked about the triangle, but maybe he said, and a song is. And you said, okay.
No. And I suppose it's all very personal, because like, I suppose if it wasn't, then literally everything would be the same. So the fact that everybody's input is valid and different, and but I suppose a great song like that resonates, and I think that's kind of the most that anyone can aspire to as a songwriter, is to be able to write something that will resonate with somebody. So if it maybe makes somebody cry occasionally, or even a smile, like, I mean, like somebody, you know, people are nodding around going, yeah, like I get that, you know, or a line. It doesn't have to be, some people can, you know, you can just get like to the chorus and then they go, oh my God, I get it now, or, you know what I mean? So there's so many ways to look at it, but.
And they might get it differently than you actually wanted them to get it.
Totally.
But that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're coming to the last song, Let Go. Letting go of what?
So this is a newish song as well. And basically it's kind of about realising that, well, I suppose it is, I do realise it, but it's about knowing that the people that are in your life or that come into your life kind of, they're there to teach you lessons, and you learn things from them. And sometimes it takes you a really long time to learn a lesson. And sometimes you've got to let go.
Of the person or of the lesson?
Of the person.
Of the person. Okay. I think I'm not going to ask anymore, but I think it means a lot to you, this song, Let Go.
It's, do you know, it's one that, like, because I hadn't been writing in a while, and it was something that I started writing about somebody else, about a friend, kind of in an effort to kind of shake her and give her a lesson. I was like, and then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, oh God, it's about me.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you something personal as well. My mom gives me the best lesson ever. She told me a long time ago, when you get annoyed about people, you're actually looking at yourself. And that is the worst thing to kind of realize, but it's true. When you get annoyed about someone, or you think, oh, they're not doing what they should be doing, you look. If you really look closely, it's what you're not really doing. So.
Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Like if somebody gets angry with you, or they treat you badly, when you actually kind of look at the situation, it's not necessarily a reflection on your behaviour. It's kind of a reflection on something that's going on with them, you know, and people are hurting inside or whatever, and they just aren't really sure how to deal with it, so they take it out on other people. So.
But you know what's really good?
What?
We're still young and we got it. We figured it out. Yeah, pretty
we
early.
Figured it out.
Yes. Let go.
Now I see the people I've been drawn to teach me more, when to leave and when to stay, and when to close the door. Words that drift with no real sense of what you really mean. A tangle web of push and pull, but you would not agree. I don't think I'm stupid. I don't think I'm blind. I just think there's a part of me that sees good in every kind. But I gotta let go. I gotta let go. Blinded by the love of it, the truth is hard to see. Those that cross our paths are there to bring us to our knees. Reminiscing on our past, memories good and bad. Gathered up, I'll not forget the lessons that I've had. I don't think I'm stupid. I don't think I'm blind. I just think there's a part of me that sees good in every kind. But I gotta let go. I gotta let go. Hindsight has shown me all your ways, and I will take it all today. But I gotta let go. I gotta let go.
Absolutely beautiful song. Thank you so much for singing that, and thank you so much for being here today. It was
Thank you for having me. It was
amazing pleasure. I was wondering, do you think we can get an encore? Do you feel like doing that, or is it on the other guitar? Not or is it? We can switch guitars. Would you mind doing it?
We could do.
Or would you like to do another one?
Well, let me because I changed the list, and then we could do the one that we weren't going to do. Do you know what we'll do? Actually, give me the other guitar.
Okay, good.
Give me the other guitar. We'll do another song that I wrote for somebody else. Because awesome, thank you. My gorgeous assistant.
For someone else, is it a goodbye song or is it a happy song?
It was a happy song. So basically, my sister got married a couple of years ago, and we were having the hen party, you know, and one of her friends said to me, like, what, like, are you gonna write a song? And then I was like, God, people are really gonna expect for me to turn up with a song. And so I started working on it. And actually, funnily enough, I actually think my first notes on writing a song were in the back of my friend Shell's car when I was here at one point. So I rooted those out, and I said, I'm gonna have to write her a song. So I didn't tell anybody because I was afraid that if I didn't get it finished, that I'd have told people and they'd have an expectation, and then I wouldn't do it. And also, then if I bottled it on the day, that I wouldn't have to do it. The only person I did tell was the guy who was in the band and playing the music because he. I was singing their first dance, so I was plugging in my guitar and I was using his system and whatever. So I was in contact with him, and I said, so when I finish that one, I'm going to do another one that I've written, blah, 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 blah. And then it kind of got edited a little bit because I'd written, it was quite long. And then I took it to like a workshop, and somebody kind of said, well, why don't you make it shorter? It doesn't need to be so long. And I was like, yeah, you're right, actually. And it worked well in the end.
It's forever.
Forever and always.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah, no way.
And I thought, I'm going to have to ask you to sing at my best friend's wedding because it's amazing. I love it so much.
Who's your best friend? What's her name?
Georgie is her name. And
Georgie.
she hasn't even asked if the guy will marry her yet, but he will. He will. I'm going to get in trouble now. Oh, well. No, he will. I know he will. You will, won't you? It's a beautiful song, and we can't wait to hear it. Oh my goodness.
This is for Georgie. That is hilarious. I'm just gonna make this a little bit better. Still not right. This is what happens when you don't have your own guitar. Do you know what, actually? I might borrow. I wonder would the other cap will work better. So... yeah, this might help.
This is what you have when we die.
In the world.
Just imagine people are still clapping and saying, "Yay, Grainne, yay!"
Okay, this might be better.
Oops, sorry about that.
We'll have to give you lessons in guitar handling.
I know. There we go.
No, that's it should. Yeah, please. But if you put it lying down, it can't fall any further. That's always a good idea. It's not perfect, but it might just have to do. Going to drive me mental. Sorry. It's showing me that it's in tune. So let's make it flat. Okay, but hopefully we won't hit it.
She wakes in the morning, can't believe this day has come, the start of a new life. Chapter 1, he's nervously waiting, but knowing she will come. Time passes slowly, waiting for his one, and she will trust and honor him and be his best friend. Hold his hand, stand by his side, sleep in his arms, protect his heart, and she will love him forever and always, forever and always, forever and always. She's here, he can feel it. His heart is full and he breathes in. So close, but he can't see her walking. In a blink, she's beside him to catch his hand and take his breath. Lost in her eyes now, she's perfect. And he will trust and honor her and be her best friend. Hold her hand, stand by her side, sleep in her arms, protect her heart, and he will love her forever and always, forever and always, forever and always. She is the most beautiful girl in the room. He is the happiest man in the world. She captured his heart, now they are bound by love. They are bound by love. Forever and always, forever and always, forever and always, forever and always, forever and always.
Thank you for doing that so spontaneously. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm stuck over here with the guitar. So anyway, thank you so much for being here today. It was wonderful to have you here. Look her up on the internet. She has a wonderful website with news and blog stuff on it. You can find out when she's going to be playing live. And I wish you all the best. I can't wait to hear your new album. Not the folk one. I'm looking forward to that one too. But the new one with the song Too Cold on it. I can't wait to hear it. Anyway, you're such a lovely person and your music is wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for watching here on MUXX TV and Sofarecordings, and we will see you next time, hopefully. Have a lovely time listening to music and enjoying your life. So, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can let it hold you. You can sit on a wire.